Peace, you know what it is. It's your man Skyzoo, Skyzoo, live from the borough. And this is DaMainSource TV. You know how they doing it, man. Let's get it.
My man said that he bamboo on the steps. Tell him what you can or can't do for a tech. My man said that he bamboo on the steps. Tell him what you can or can't do for a tech. And he said the strap black like Fab 5 apparel. Sweet 16 running laps out of the barrel. Said to sing lullabies of the rap. You like the carol. Ducking that is like juggling laps with a Camaro.
Canada. Outside of that, I would say the hockey, you know, the Canadians, and yeah, I would say those two things. Yeah.
Counting, turning the wind when there's a market. Both sides of it just came in for a target. One got a bottle of it and covered in sparklers. The other got a dot, an aim, and a full cartridge.
Oh man, the influence and the inspiration, you know, just the storytelling, you know, somebody being, first of all, in a literal sense, somebody being a block away, making it to that extreme, lets you know if you coming up doing anything like, yo, this could really happen. You know, a lot of times, especially back then, there wasn't a lot of 12, 13-year-olds saying they wanted to rap and that they were rappers and, you know, had those goals and aspirations, especially back then. So, you know, when you see that and you see somebody on that level who lives a 45-second walk up the block, you know what I mean? It was like, yeah, this could happen, you know? So that was kind of all the inspiration and all the validation that you needed to make something go a certain way. And then as far as untold stories, I think I've kind of told them all, but, you know, the thing for me as a kid, I was like 12, 13 when Big blew. So we were seeing before that growing up, but once he blew, I was like junior high school age and all that. And I always would say that I would rhyme for Big. But again, I was like 12, 13, so I was nervous. So I was like, yo, I'm around for Big, whenever he would come around the way. Because once he blew, as he should, he moved, you know, because you move, you're able to live a certain lifestyle and move out of the hood and do certain things. So once he moved to Jersey or whatever it was, he would still come back to the neighborhood and rock with everybody, drink Hemrock and shoot dice on the corner with everybody. And we saw that as kids from afar, across the street or up the block. And I would always say, I'm around for Big, But I would always kind of freeze a little bit as a 12-year-old. You know, if it was me at 20, of course, I would have went down. But, you know, as a, you know, 12-year-old, you know, I was still a kid. So I used to freeze. And, you know, then when he would leave, I'd be like, yo, next time I'm around for Big. And all my friends would be like, oh, man, get out of here. You just missed it, you know. So that type of thing that just always makes me laugh when I look back and reflect on it.
Empty that in your rapper, jump out the room. Word of mouth, murder out, connecting you like a loop. Put your name in the lights or whatever you might assume till your rep so high that your weapon done got a groove.
Let me see, my evolution as an artist. Well, first off, as an MC, as a writer and a lyricist, you know, for me, it's all about constant elevation and constant growth. No matter how dope people say I am, and the way that I've been able to be, you know, spoken about, and the esteem and the level that I've been put on, and I'm honored and blessed and humbled to be able to put on that level. It's always about constant growth with me. It's like no matter, you could win the championship today, you could be Golden State and win the chip today, you still should go shoot tomorrow. Or take a week off and then go shoot. Like, you still should be in the gym getting to it, because there's always somebody coming up behind you trying to go for it. And then at any given, your craft could kind of deflate and get to a certain level that you wouldn't want it to be at. So it's always about being in the gym. I believe in shooting 1,000 jumpers a day. You know, so for me, my 1,000 jumpers a day is I freestyle a lot when I'm in the crib, when I'm doing things, whether it's errands in the crib, ironing clothes, or, you know, dishes or whatever it is, cooking. I'll freestyle to myself. You know, it sounds like I'm mumbling, but I'll freestyle to myself, you know, or messing around, you know, with my friends or whatever, I'll freestyle. And, you know, I'm always in the lab working on music, whether it's for myself or ghostwriting for other people. So all that stuff to me is 1,000 jumpers a day, which is, you know, super vital, in my opinion, for anybody, no matter who you are. I don't care if you just started rhyming yesterday. I don't care if you sold 20 million albums every time you came out. If you really care about the craft and being great, there it is. So just back to your question as far as elevation, you know, lyrically, at that standpoint, for sure. But then also on top of it, I'm all about the story continuing on. I'm all about the relatability. I'm all about the musicianship. So every album, sonically, the cohesion is in a certain space, and they're all similar to one another, but it's also all different because sonically it just continues to grow, but it's the same thread. Nothing sounds out of pocket. There's no album that's like all these albums was on this level and then this one in the middle was just something else that he ain't need to do. There's never that, and that's not going to happen because I didn't grow up on music like that. I grew up on music where everything was cohesive, everything was in one accord, and was on one accord rather, and everything was in a certain realm, and that's what it was, and you were able to grow within that.
Said the purchase as sweet as a meal of is. Strip something down with a bow, no cupids. Both hands on, make it easy for you to shoot with. Hands up, I tell you you need it before you do it.
My favorite video game, I mean, right now I would probably say 2K, but all time it'd have to be some type of a 3-4-way tie between like NBA Jam, Super Mario Bros. 3, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. Probably like a 4-way tie between those four, because that's just a reflection of my childhood. But as of right now, 2K, you know, the 2K series for sure. Favorite TV shows is a tie between The Wire and The Cosby Show, 100%. You know, it's an even tie between those two for me. And the chip this year, man, I'm hoping OKC get it. You know, for my bro, yo, my man Melo. You know, of course I'm a diehard Knicks fan, but I'm also, you know, Melo is my G. Like, that's the homie on a personal level, him and his team. And you know, they've been like family over the years. That's crew love. So I want, as a Knicks fan, I want us to get it right, but we got like 20, 30 years to get it right, because that's just the organization that we are, sadly. But as somebody who's cool and tight with Melo and also a fan of Melo, I want him to get that. So I really want OKC to get it this year, because I want him to get it, get what he deserved, get that ring, and the whole deal.
My man said that he bamboo on the steps. Tell him what you can or can't do for a tech. My man said that he bamboo on the steps. One by one, hand in hand with his connect.
You know, as far as the 106, man, that was 15 years ago. You know what's crazy, too? All the people who've been on 106, I'm the only person who it continues to get brought up with. And that says a lot. You know, even when I don't be thinking about it, I don't even be remembering it. You know, so many other MCs have been on it, who've dropped albums, mixtapes, whatever, that people forget were on there, whether they won or lost or whatever. I'm the only one who it always gets brought up. People always bring it back to that. So I guess that's a sign of what that meant for that time and that era, and what, you know, Jen and I were able to do up there. So that's live. As far as in my career, you know, growing up, just battling, whether it was on the corner, whether it was, you know, in the park, whether it was in school, whatever it was, like, that was what it was. That was what you did. Before you ever thought about making 14 songs for an album or anything in between, or a single or a video, back then, that's what it was. Nowadays, I feel like these kids write their video treatment before they write a record for the first time ever. But back then, it was just about rhyming, and then all that other stuff kind of grew and, you know, culminated when all that got going, you know. So for me, growing up as a teenager, high school, college, whatever, it was about being able to go outside and get to it, or be in a lunchroom and get to it. I never went to a school where I wasn't the best rapper, you know, and that's just keeping it 100. And for everybody watching this who went to school with me, you can honestly say that. And that's not a brag or, you know, kind of deading anybody. That's just what it was. I took my craft and still take my craft extremely seriously. So, you know, I was always about getting to it and getting busy. And I was always, you know, someone who admired other people who got busy. You know, one thing people don't do nowadays is give it up for people who get busy. And if you get busy, it don't matter if somebody else get busy, because you still get busy too. Like, I'll get on a record with whoever. I'll give it up for whoever. If I hear somebody right now who get busy, I'll tell them, yo, son, you super nice. You get busy. I'm not afraid to tell someone they nice, because that doesn't take away from me being nice, you know. And I think that's a problem nowadays with a lot of MCs and a lot of rappers, and the difference between the two. As far as the battle culture nowadays, it's dope, man. It's dope to see all of them. I know a lot of those guys. You know, I know Lux. Lux is the homie. Clips is the homie. Cortez is my G. You know, that's the homie. Mickey Fax, of course. I know a lot of those guys personally, and I respect the hell out of what they do. The preparation of taking 2 months to write 3 rounds, each round 5 minutes apiece. 16 bars is 40 seconds. So you do the math on that, 5 minutes, that's a lot of rhymes, and then you do that 3 times. 15 minutes worth of rhymes, 16 bars is 40 seconds. You do the math, that's insane. And then to remember all that, and then to get stopped because the crowd is going crazy, and it stops for 30 seconds, and then you have to pick up where you left off. Insanity, you know what I mean? I love it. I love everything about it. I watch them all the time. I'm always rooting for my friends and the guys that I know in it, and I'm quick to give it up if somebody get busy. I'm like, yo, he bodied that or she bodied that. You know what I mean? Like, I love what's going on with that. So I don't see myself jumping, you know, into it like that. At this point, I'm very much so focused on the records that I make, the catalog that I've been able to build, and continuing to build that catalog until I feel like I'm done telling the story that I want to tell. But I respect the hell out of that, and I'm a fan. So I'm going to those events. So I'm watching from the crib, or I'm saluting them and showing love when we see each other. I'll give it up for them guys, no problem. So, You know, it's all love.
My man said that he bamboo on the steps. Tell him what you can or can't do for a tech. My man said that he bamboo on the steps. At 24, he done ran through what was left.
Peace, peace, you know what it is. It's your man Skyzoo, Skyzoo, live from the borough. And this is DaMainSource TV. You know how they doing it, man. Let's get it.
My man said that he bamboo on the steps. Tell him what you can or can't do for a tech. My man said that he bamboo on the steps. Tell him what you can or can't do for a tech. And he said, the strap black like Fab 5 apparel. Sweet 16 running laps out of the barrel.